and then narrow it down to the, shoot, start over. Did I hit the mic?
3, 2, 1.
And work carefully with your travel agent to make sure, oh, God dang it. And that's it for that. Whoopsie. That's okay.
One more take it on.
Okay. People like to be really close to the pool, spa, buffet, casino, or other. Some people like to be. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Hey cruisers, it's Sheri from CruiseTipsTV. One of my favorite things about cruising is the planning and research. In fact, I usually start researching a new cruise on the way home from the last. It's like a puzzle for me, and I want to make sure that all the little pieces fit perfectly, from choosing the ship and itinerary right down to picking the perfect cabin. Now, if you're new to cruising, selecting a cabin might seem a little overwhelming. So be sure to do your research and work carefully with your travel agent to make the right choice for you. Cruise lines offer many cabin choices, like 20 to 30 categories. It sounds crazy, but like doing a puzzle, you can sort through the obvious stuff and then narrow it down to the remaining options. In this case, the obvious stuff can be broken down into essentially 4 basic types of cabins. Inside cabins, which will have no window and are typically the smallest. Outside cabins, which in many cases will be about the same size as an inside cabin, but will have a window or porthole with some kind of view. Now, we'll come back to the view later. Balcony cabins. This is pretty obvious, but yeah, you'll have a balcony. Fresh air without the crowds. And finally, a suite. There's a ton of variety in this category, from mini suites to owner's suites. But basically, a suite is a larger cabin, sometimes with separate rooms and upgraded services and amenities. Amenities. Okay, first step is to choose from these 4 basic categories. If money's not a concern, it's a no-brainer. Go for a suite. But money's always a concern though, isn't it? So pick the best one that you can afford. And there are other things to consider as well. Maybe you can afford a balcony, but you're more of an out and about type person and see your cabin as just a place to sleep or shower. Or maybe it's a short cruise. Why spend the extra cash? You could use the money you save on a fun excursion instead and just get an inside cabin. On the other hand, if you like hanging out in your room, or it's a longer cruise, or perhaps you have kids and need a little more space, then we strongly recommend a balcony. There have been a few occasions where we chose an inside cabin to save money and later regretted the decision. You should also consider a balcony on cruises to places like Alaska, when there may be beautiful vistas. It will cost you more because balcony cabins are popular on scenic cruises, but it may be worth the splurge. All right, on to the next piece of the puzzle. Let's talk about location. There are many factors to consider when selecting where you want your cabin. Now for us, noise level is the first consideration. We try to pick a cabin away from nightclubs, elevators, buffets, and other high traffic areas. Typically, we're looking for something at the end of a hall, and that's usually going to mean we'll have to walk a lot farther to the main areas of the ship, but we don't mind. Now, if you're prone to seasickness, then that may be your primary concern when choosing a cabin. You may want to choose a cabin on the lowest deck around midship. You'll avoid the rocking and rolling at the forward and aft areas of the ship. That extra movement really tends to aggravate seasickness. You may also want to make your decision based on proximity to areas important to you. Some people like to be close to the pool, the spa, buffet, casino, or another hot spot to cut down on walking. And along those lines, if you have difficulty getting around, you'll want to look for a cabin as close to the elevators and stairwells as possible. There's a lot more that we could cover in this area, and perhaps we'll come back to this topic in another episode. But before we close this one out, we do have 2 final tips for you. First, if you decide on a cabin with a view, make sure you know exactly what that view is. Some cabins have obstructed views like lifeboats and poles, etc., and some have even deck views. And while these cabins may be less expensive, if you're expecting a full ocean view, you may be disappointed. Now, second, if you'll be cruising along a coastline, you could consider choosing your cabin based on the side of the ship with the best view of that coastline. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you on the high seas. From our balcony. Love the balcony. Bye.
Hey, click me to subscribe.
I think I'm gonna have to start over.